I want to use this medium also to express my gratitude to the Presiding Chancellor, the Deputy Chancellors, and the respected Board of Regents, faculty members, the Program Advisor, Course Advisor, Program Director, fellow students. I am Adigo Kioludoto Leke Newton, a PhD student of Theology and Church Administration at Real Life Christian College and Seminary. In today's presentation, we shall look into the topic Apocrypha Gospel. We shall be examining the non-canonical account of Jesus' life and teachings. This research paper investigates Apocrypha's Gospel, exploring non-canonical narratives about Jesus. It examines the historical context, theological importance, and early Christian reception, analyzing selected texts to illuminate diverse interpretation of Jesus' ministry beyond the New Testament. The chapter 1 is about introduction. The study of Apocrypha's Gospel unveils the diverse landscape of early Christian literature and theological viewpoints. This chapter defines Apocrypha's Gospel, explores their importance, and outlines the research goals. Apocrypha Gospel are ancient Christian texts depicting narratives of Jesus Christ's life, his teaching and ministry, excluded from the canonical New Testament. They offer very theological perspective, cultural influences, and literal tradition alongside the canonical Gospels. Examples include the Gospel of Thomas and the Gospel of Mary. Studying Apocrypha's Gospel is quite crucial. First, these texts provide alternative insight into Jesus' life beyond the canonical Gospel, revealing diverse interpretation and early Christian theology. Secondly, they illuminate cultural and religious context of antiquity, enriching historical understanding. And third, they challenge Christian orthodoxy, highlighting marginalized voices. This paper aimed to, number one, analyze Apocrypha's Gospel, the Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Mary, and the infancy Gospel of Thomas for context and theology. Number two, explore their historical context and reception. Number three, compare them with canonical Gospels. Number four, assess their impact on Christian literature and theology. Number five, evaluate their relevance for contemporary scholarship and interfaith dialogue. This study contributes to understanding Apocrypha's Gospel within early Christian theology and broader religious discourse. Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is based on historical context and development. The emergence and development of Apocrypha's Gospel in early Christianity unveils a fascinating tapestry of beliefs and practices in the ancient Christian world. The chapter delves into their theological influences, manuscript traditions, and scholarly insight. Apocrypha's Gospel emerged alongside canonical Gospel in the first century of Christianity, offering alternative narratives about Jesus' life and teaching. Their genesis can be attributed to diverse theological perspectives within early Christian communities, including attempts to fill narrative gaps and respond to theological disputes. Scholars like Bart D. Eatman and Elmort Kuester and Elias Pageros have extensively researched Apocrypha's Gospel, revealing their theological significance and the socio-religious context that shaped them. The theological and cultural influences on Apocrypha's Gospel literature were manifold. Some texts reflect a synthesis of Jewish and Hellenistic ideas, while others exhibit agnostic cosmology, emphasizing secret knowledge. Liturgical use and devotional practices within Christian communities also shape their theological perspective. Scholars such as Karen L. King and April D. DeConnock have explored their influences, highlighting Gnostic interpretation and the broader theological millennium of the time. The reception and the manuscript tradition of Apocrypha's Gospel underscore their significance within the early Christian communities. Ancient manuscript discoveries like the Nag Hammadi Library have provided insight into their circulation and reception. Early church fathers cited and commented on these texts, demonstrating their theological use. Translation and transmission into various languages further influenced Christian literature and theology. Chapter 3, Analysis of Selected Apocrypha's Gospels. The chapter delves into the examination of specific Apocryphal gospel, including the Gospel of Thomas, Gospel of Mary, and the infancy Gospel of Thomas, illuminating their unique themes, theological perspective, and the cultural context within early Christianity. The Gospel of Thomas, discovered among the Nag uh, Hammadi manuscript in 1945, comprises 114 sayings attributed to Jesus, emphasizing wisdom, teachings, and spiritual insight. Scholars such as April D. de Konik and the Elian Pageros analyze its Gnostic element, highlighting the gospel's emphasis on spiritual knowledge and its rejection of material reality. Elmort Quester and Karen L. King discuss the connection to Gnostic thought, revealing its impact on early Christian spirituality. The Gospel of Mary, discovered in the late 19th century, presents Mary Magdalene as prominent disciple and witness to Jesus' teachings, challenging traditional gender role within the early Christianity. Scholars like Karen L. King and Anne Graham Brooke examine its portrayal of women and the dynamics of discipleship, shedding light on the role of spiritual authority within the Christian community. The infancy Gospel of Thomas contains narrative about Jesus' childhood, emphasizing miraculous events and moral teachings. This gospel reflects popular piety and theological interest of its time. Scholars such as Tony Buck and Bart D. Herman analyzes its literary genre, exploring its impact on early Christian spirituality and their religious imagination, influencing devotional practices within certain Christian communities. Chapter 4, Theological Significance and Interpretation. And in this chapter, we dive into the theological significance and interpretation present within the Apocryphal Gospel, focusing on key themes, comparison with canonical gospel, and the implication for understanding the diversity within Christian uh, community of the early church. Apocryphal Gospel exhibit a wide array of theological themes and emphasizes that offers unique insight into early Christian thought as well as their spirituality. One prominent theological emphasis found in certain Apocryphal Gospel is the presence of the Gnostic themes. These texts often emphasize spiritual knowledge, this gnosis, and the dualistic nature of existence, distinguishing between the material world and the spiritual realm. Gnostic Apocryphal Gospel, such as the Gospel of Thomas or the Gospel of the Truth, highlights the esoteric teachings attributed to Jesus, which is aimed at facilitating spiritual enlightenment as well as salvation. Another prevalent theme in Apocryphal Gospel is the transmission of the wisdom teachings attributed to Jesus Christ. Drawing upon the tradition of the Jewish wisdom literature, this text presents Jesus as a sage, imparting divine wisdom to his disciples and followers. For instance, the Gospel of Thomas primarily consists of saying attributed to Jesus, conveying spiritual insight and ethical teachings. Many apocryphal gospels contain elaborate account of Jesus' miracles and supernatural deeds during his earthly ministry, underscoring his divine nature as well as his authority. The infancy gospel of Thomas, for example, represents stories of Jesus, his childhood's miracles, showcasing his extraordinary powers from a young and tender age. When comparing Apocrypha's gospel with the canonical gospel, we discover both striking similarities and notable differences. Despite their distinctiveness, Apocrypha's gospel often shares common stories, teachings, and even verbatim passages with the canonical gospel, suggesting a shared oral tradition and the pool of source material. However, these texts also introduce unique narratives, teachings, and theological interpretation that diverge from the canonical account, reflecting theological diversity and specific doctrinal emphasis within early Christian community. Studying Apocrypha's gospel enriches our understanding of the diverse beliefs, practices, and theological viewpoints present within early Christianity. These texts represent a spectrum of a theological perspective and provide evidence of theological debate, doctrinal development, and alternative interpretation of Jesus' life and teaching across various religious and cultural contexts within the early Christian movement. In conclusion, the study of Apocryphal Gospel enriches our understanding of early Christian history, theology, and cultural dynamics. This text has valuable resource for exploring the complexity of religious diversity and theological innovation within the formative period of Christianity. By engaging this apocryphal gospel, scholars and readers alike gain deeper insight into the vibrant tapestry of beliefs and practices that shaped the early Christian movement. Throughout our exploration, we found that Apocrypha's gospel emerged in response to theological diversity, narrative gaps, and cultural influences within the early Christianity. They emphasize diverse theological themes such as Gnostic cosmology, wisdom teaching, and miraculous narratives. Apocrypha's gospel exhibits both similarities and differences compared to canonical gospel, enriching our understanding of early Christian literature. The research highlights the theological and cultural diversity of early Christian communities, showcasing the dynamic interaction between Christianity and surrounding religious traditions. The reception, history, and the manuscript tradition of Apocrypha Gospel underscore their significance within various Christian communities, valued for their spiritual insight, ethical teachings, and devotional practices as evidenced by the inclusion in liturgical context and early Christian writings. Thanks for listening. God bless you.